Hi everyone, it's Viktor speaking, and I'm here today with Tsveti again to speak about the new moon in Aries. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you, Victor.
Did the energy pick up for you?
Yes, it already did. I was really devastated after all the news over the last week for Nicola and everything, and I was really overwhelmed with it. I couldn't even imagine making a video. Indeed, I was so, and I still am, but somehow life goes on, and we need to really carry on doing and living.
Yeah,
Even if we realize we will lose valuable and really important people in our life in the meantime. So I really thank you for helping me to pull myself together somehow and to try and do this video. And yeah, let's hope that life will give us something better in the future, and especially with this new moon, as we are starting the topic of the new moon in Aries today, which is promising a new beginning because it's in the first sign of the zodiac. It's the first new moon after the new astrological year. It's the first new moon after the equinox. And yeah, Aries gives new life, like just like spring gives new life to us. So hopefully we will be able to feel this energy influx into us, into our bodies, and also a fresh new outlook for life because Aries rules the head. So hopefully something better, something new will come from the head top down and will fill us with this life force that we need so much, especially now.
yeah, I completely agree. It's devastating what happened to Nicola, um, and yeah, my condolences to those people who really knew him. I only met him once. He's a very generous and he was a very generous and kind man. Yeah, very unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's speak about this new moon. As you said, it's all about new beginnings, a fresh start. So hopefully it brings us a little bit of a better season as well, meaning that it's not going to be that cold. The weather here is a lot nicer actually,
Yes.
but yeah. So how do you feel about this new moon overall?
This new moon, as I mentioned, it's promising really some new beginnings, but it's also going to give us uh, the possibility, the chance to look back on our wounds because Chiron is involved in there, and on our deepest wound indeed. And I think it will give us a chance to really consider and see what is stopping us from continuing into a project that we really want to invest our energy in, just like Aries, because it's a cardinal sign and it means um, dynamic, investing our energy into something new, in new projects, being the leader, being the person who will be starting something new, even in our lives personally or on a more global level as well, starting something new. So we will be triggered to see maybe how our wound is a gift indeed to us and how it manifests in our life and what we were able to achieve and to gain from it, and at the same time have the energy to actually start developing this gift within ourselves. It gives good opportunities, this new moon, but it will also trigger some emotional stuff within us, some realizations on what's blocking us because of this Venus Pluto square that is very active and very exact at the moment of the new moon, which is happening, by the way, on the 22nd degree, 22nd, 23rd degree of Aries. And we have actually a whole stellium of planets in Aries at the same time. So it will be quite intense because Aries, as I mentioned, it's a cardinal sign, it's new beginnings, it's starting something totally new. And of course, there is a supporting element in the new moon as well, not only the square that I mentioned, but we have a bisextile figure, which is happening between the new moon and Jupiter. on the one hand, and then the new moon and Mars on the other hand, and Mars and Jupiter are in a trine, which
Just a
means
correction that it's not a bisextile, it's actually a normal sextile.
it's a bisextile because the new moon forms two sextiles. That's what I meant. It
Oh,
forms
okay.
one sextile to Jupiter and one sextile to Mars.
Oh,
And
I
at the
see, I
same time,
see.
yes, and at the same time, Mars and Jupiter are in a trine. So we will have a harmonious, lovely, energetic flow, and we will have the chance, some opportunity, because sextile energy means putting some effort, grabbing an opportunity. And at the same time, Mars Jupiter trine will be giving us the easy energy flow so that we can manifest the efforts in a nice way. Yeah.
You know, this new moon very much features the kind of the legendary aspects in 2020, because we had Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto conjunction happening on the 12th of January on 21 degree of Capricorn. So at the moment, this new moon is still a square in that point there, and it's very much activated by the black moon Lilith as well. So, because we do have got her also around, which is the shadow side of the things. Black Moon Lilith is very much about a Pluto and Neptunian combination. So it means that things are coming out to the surface, and you know, it's a little bit of a like being divided into two groups, because Pluto wants to come out of the shadow and then Neptune wants to stay behind the scene at the same time. So I feel like new moon is somehow kind of showing us how the people are getting divided in this new astrological start of the year. And this is the third decan of the Aries sign as well, where moon does not have much dignity. But as you said, you know, this all that support what the moon gets from Jupiter, and even looking at the decan itself, that's a Venusian and Jupiterian energy. So the moon has got some kind of support here, surely, because both Jupiter and Venus carry some water element within it. So Jupiter or Venusian territory, depending on which essential dignity table you use. Ptolemy or Dorotheus version, but no matter which one you use, it is ruled by a benefic. So it does give a little bit of a beneficial type of energy to that new moon. And Aries is all about the spark, the ignition key in the car. So it is definitely talking about, you know, the opportunities to start something fresh, right? And it gives us the power to actually push that gas pedal because it's a cardinal energy, right? So we've got, as you mentioned, so much cardinal energy going on. We've got Mercury there, so the mind can be fast. We can have plenty of new ideas. We just need to make sure that we grab those opportunities. But the downfall of that, of course, is that things are burning quite quickly. So, you know, as quick as an opportunity can arise, that quick they can go as well. So we need to become a little bit more risk-taking. We need to put, because the ruler of the new moon, which is Mars, being in the sign of Gemini, it is crucial that actually we also put intellectual effort into our plans and desires and not just running after on our heads. Right? So thinking is a crucial element in this new moon, and making sure that we've got plans, and we're going to be collecting the facts and the data before actually we rushing headfirst into something, but not necessarily doing that far too long, because then the opportunity goes out of the window.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think that this mutual reception between Mars and Mercury will be helping us a lot in terms of really considering, thinking, and pushing through in the long term. And also Jupiter, because it rules our long-term goals, our ideals, what we really want to achieve in the long run, then being in a trine to this Mars, actually, which is in Gemini, and Mars also rules logic and our rational mind in a way. So being in Gemini, which is an air sign, and it rules communication and thinking and really going through the facts, so to say, gathering the information that we need, we stand a good chance to really consider carefully the project that we are going to pick up. And at the same time, the Pluto-Venus square, because it's a Saturnian energy, the square represents delays, difficulties, some blockages in a way. It will push us to think what we no longer need, probably, to consider the facts that we have and to see what is blocking us, what we can just release to purge somehow the information that we don't need, the emotions really that we don't need anymore. And yeah, and somehow maybe it will happen through some difficulties, or maybe someone on the outside, because Venus rules relationships, maybe someone on the outside could trigger us to feel certain types of emotions, which will really bring us to the realization, well, I don't need this anymore, I'm going on with this project, and we continue doing it. So having this frustration and blockage within us will somehow highlight again and give us an opportunity to really continue with what we started,
And
hopefully.
I would also mention that that lovely Jupiterian aspect just wants us to have to keep an open mind and to have a positive attitude towards whatever we want to initiate. And this new moon, because it somehow features Jupiter, let's not forget that Jupiter is going to be going into the sign of Pisces in the middle of May. So basically a month left. By the way, which I made a detailed video about what Jupiter in Pisces means and what Jupiter transits to each of the sign should expect. I already posted that on my YouTube channel as well. But, it's all about believing in ourselves and the universal flow as well at the same time. Yes, that's so much energy in Aries, like Chiron, which highlights our insecurities and the fear of rejection and the fear of failure, basically. Somehow the past is haunting us, right? But the Chiron in Aries very much talks about the risk in the vulnerability, proving that we are brave enough and bold enough to get things going. Mercury is all about speaking up about these karmic wounds and getting straight to the core of the problem. Yes, maybe there is a rapid fire type of communication, which can sometimes backfire. But at the same time, it just gets us going a little bit faster. And we also have got Ceres
Yes.
in Aries, which is an asteroid. And that really talks about taking care of our survival needs. But at the same, taking care of ourselves, basically, taking care of our own body. Um, being kind of fired up to be an advocate when it comes to health and safety of others and ourselves. And there is so much of a nurturing quality to that series. And of course, as you mentioned, we've got Venus as well. She is being part of the pack. And yeah, we've got a little bit of a square to Pluto. That's probably one of the most difficult aspects in this configuration. But basically that Venus becomes a little bit more analytical, that Venus knows what she wants, but because it's in the sign of Aries, it wants it immediately, right? And the square usually talks about some type of challenges. So our heart desires are challenged, whether you can fulfill that or not. So I really feel like this new moon is actually all about really this time around planting the new seeds and starting something fresh, right? But at the same time with that Chiron, it's very much about releasing the things which happened to us in the last exactly 1 year when the last moon energy happened in the sign of Aries.
Yeah, and one of the ways we can release actually something that is really bogging us down is to realize the gift within the wound that we had. and as I mentioned before, and it's actually a very nice chance because Chiron will be in conjunction to Mercury as well. Actually, it's conjunct on the 9th. It's the exact conjunction, and then, but it will still be in within orb. So having this conjunction between Mercury and Chiron right before the new moon, maybe we can come to realize what is the connection between the wound that we have and the gift that we received from this wound. And once we realize it, because Mercury is related to communication, to our thinking process, and when Chiron is in there, maybe we will really be triggered to see this connection, to see what are the benefits of having such a wound. And also, not only Chiron, but also Pluto, together with Venus, they are very much involved into healing energies. And even it's going to be a square between Pluto and Venus, and it's going to be a hard trigger, maybe. There is a very nice chance to really heal this within us by realizing it, by bringing this to our conscious mind. And this way, it will not disappear, of course. We will always have this wound, but at least we will be able to recognize it and thus manage it. So when something happens that has always happened before, we will know, okay, this is it. I know what it is and I can manage it. And in this way, being on a path of becoming a healer to ourselves and maybe later for others as well. Because once we manage to heal ourselves, we will also be able to help others in this sense.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
at the same time, I would also like to mention that this new moon is in conjunction with a fixed star called Akamar. And Akamar is basically an energy which represents the river. So the end of the river, especially. So this new moon, in my opinion, with that Akamar fixed star, is very much about the end of the road and definitely starting something fresh. Akamar is not a big fixed star. It has got a 3.2 magnitude. And its name is originated from an Arabic word, which means the end of the river, but they associate Akamar with Jupiterian qualities. So there is some type of honor, there is some type of growth and expansion associated with this star. So I would say that um, this fixed star very much reveal a higher degree of spiritual attunement as well. If someone has got a planet around the 22 degree of Aries, let us know how you deal with spirituality, right? Because that's kind of a spiritual fixed star, actually.
Mm.
Yeah. So it gives a kind of a love of knowledge. Somehow it's associated with science and travel and plenty of changes. And even it indicates something with the position of the authority figures as well. It could also represent something, accidents, for instance, in the sea, or the drowning of something, or even it is so much associated with the rain as well. So I feel like, some of those topics are going to be probably quite emphasized in the next 6 months. So the scientific knowledge, maybe the travel changes. We're going to be hearing a lot from those, in my opinion, in the next 6 months.
Yeah, that's
And this fixed star with the new moon is very much about medicine as well, business opportunities. And the Asian people said that with this, don't lend money to anyone, if
oh,
possible.
good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, I will have this in mind as well. I didn't know that, so yeah.
Yeah, but this new moon really brings some type of relationship energies into the picture as well. Of course, featuring the Venus square Pluto, right?
Mm,
Any type of relationship, really. So it really talks about, do we have different opinions than others, or do we actually struggle to express ourselves, or do we feel overshadowed by someone? So how are we going to relieve or not reveal our feelings and being upfront about our issues, right? What do we
Yeah.
need to kind of actually reveal, and what needs to be still a secret? And with the Pluto Venus square, it could be sometimes a little bit difficult what to reveal and what not to, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, I mean, I would say that Pluto always is like a truth serum. So we really want to say something out loud, but we might not see the
Mm.
true nature of any type of situation. And of course, it does bring in the power struggles as well. If some of you
Yes.
are single, actually, with that Pluto Venus square and with this new moon, we can madly fall in love with someone,
Get
right?
obsessed totally.
We can become obsessed as well. This is not a light-hearted energy, surely.
Yes, it's a very
So,
deep
and in a
one.
negative way, it could really bring jealousy and trust issues in love as well. Or we might want to be receiving money from our partner and it gets denied, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can be extremely sensitive with that. But it's good for some type of psychoanalysis as well, or going through an emotional catharsis, really. But the other
Yes.
end is very much about an emotional breakdown and some type of depression as well. So we've got both ends really coming up with that. And the new moon, I mean, sorry, the Pluto energy has got this purifying energy to it. And this whole energy, what we are having with this new moon, very much talks about the root chakra. So the
Yeah.
cleansing of the root chakra is very, very important.
Yeah. And so that we can have a good basis to start something new indeed. So yeah, and also this attitude that you mentioned, being obsessed, and the Pluto Venus square, and being jealous and so on, it could also, because Pluto also rules hidden things, it could also trigger any kind of hidden relationships, so something happening behind the scenes, maybe, so we should really be careful about our choices, because as you mentioned, this is not an easy energy. It's not going to be something that we're easily going to chew and spit out and just pass through and forget about it later. And not to mention that actually Pluto is right now stationing retrograde on the 26th degree of Capricorn, and this is exactly the degree where Venus in December will become retrograde. So Venus will be stationing retrograde on the 26th degree later in the year. So whatever happens now, it's a part of a cycle, which will, appear later, and maybe any kind of results, anything that we will need to really work on to improve or to reap the rewards, or so to say, to reap the results of what we do now, this will come in December, when Venus gets retrograde.
Yeah, so that Venus retrograde on that 26 degrees definitely going to be bringing back some of the issues or opportunities what we are experiencing now. I think there is going to be a fourth wave of COVID as well. I think that Venus retrograde is going to trigger something like that, unfortunately. But I do believe that the next 6 months is going to get a lot easier. But as soon as that Jupiter is going to go back into Aquarius, and it's going to be, yeah, I think it's going to cause further issues, unfortunately, and that Venus is going to be bringing that topic into also.
Yeah, and everything which was swept under the carpet, which was not announced, which was not made public, because this is also happening in the sign of Pluto-Saturn conjunction, when everything got triggered. So everything also regarding the vaccination and the possible medication for treating COVID, because the vaccine is not actually treating COVID, it's to prevent any strong effects, and the disease to develop badly, really badly. But we don't really have any medication to treat the disease right now. So I think that anything which was really hidden will become pretty obvious. And also maybe related to some side effects of the vaccine. And yeah, I think that this will become very obvious at the end of the year when we have this Venus going retrograde in Capricorn.
You know what I
Yeah.
find interesting? I just read an article that 39% of the people who have had COVID also experiencing some mental illnesses. Um, and
Yeah.
um, and I find it quite interesting that it really comes out now around the new moon when actually we've got so much Aries energy going on, right?
Yes.
But also what I find fascinating with this new moon energy, that there are so many planets on 26 degree. And in numerology, if we really want to be breaking down what 26 means, then basically its
8.
components are something to do with 2, 6, and 8,
8.
right? Because if I add up the 2 plus 6, that equals with 8. So the number 2 is all about choices. The number 2 is cooperation, teamwork, an emotional introspection number. Somehow the sidekick type of energy, because number 1 is associated with you, leadership and originality. So the number 2 is somehow, you know, your partners, the people around you. And the number 6 is let me just put it out there. I'm not a numerologist. I just have got a little bit of a clue about it. But the number 6 is all about homemaking. It is called a perfect number because it carries the stability and the harmony within itself. And the number 8 is a very highly functional energy, which talks about success and achievements. So number 8 is called as the number of building something. So it might be indication of some larger organizations, larger buildings, and so forth. And I think this number 26 really describes the new moon pretty well, with that Jupiter sextile and Mars Jupiter trine, what's going on, because it does talk about some type of opportunities. We will see what because I've got a little bit of a feeling about real estate business, how it's going to be playing out. But, you know, we will see. I think maybe it's also a new beginning in the real estate industry as well, in one way or another.
I agree with you. Absolutely.
So what else you've got to share for us or for us today?
I think we pretty much covered the aspects and the energy that this new moon will be carrying with it. So yeah, we really will have the chance to purge, to really clean our mind and to see what we really believe and is defeating us. How do we defeat ourselves and why we can't start doing something? Why can't we really initiate a project, and or why is it not possible to continue with an idea or to develop the idea and the project and to bring it to a fruitful end indeed? So it will be really a new moon which will give us a chance to see what we are hiding from ourselves and from others, and what has been hidden from us, what information we didn't have, and maybe in a way change our beliefs about something that we really want to achieve, and have this courage, because Aries means courage, having the energy and jumping into something, taking the risk, and yeah, actually do it. And this is really a great moment to make new intentions, maybe 1-2 days after the new moon indeed, but really to make new intentions, to grab the moment and to jump into the cold water and to try and see what happens indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like, you know, this new moon really can help us to rediscover our thirst for life. It kind of awakens our passionate nature and maybe we're going to start following our personal plans, of course, with plenty of courage. You
Yes.
know, by the way, in the chart of the new moon, it's going to be happening in the first house as well. Well, it really depends on where you are
Well,
erect in the chart, of course. Um, but you know, it's all about overcoming obstacles, and we can fulfill our aspirations. So believing in yourself, believing in your uniqueness and divinity within us, to fight for our beliefs, to embrace our independent side. Um, this is all what this new moon really, really talks about.
yeah, creating some kind of foundation to achieve something bigger that we really didn't believe we will be able to achieve
And
before.
you know, it's all about air and fire signs, which
Yes, indeed.
get on quite nicely. So air feeds fire. So actually, it's this new moon is all about, you know, lovely energies overall. But yes, there is a little bit of a pain which we need to overcome. That Chiron really tells us that we don't need to live in the past anymore. So how
Mhm.
are you gonna move on with the energies? And are you ready to take some type of dangerous risks as well to satisfy your own desires, basically? So
Yeah,
that's the kind of the flavor of this new moon. Oh, and
absolutely.
let's not forget that Venus is gonna be going visible in the sky also.
Oh,
So
yeah,
so
finally.
we've got, you know, the energies are moving forward. That's the excitement around it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, have a look at where your new moon is happening in your chart. That's where you can be a little bit of a that's where you can get a little bit of a blessing. So it's gonna be definitely affecting the Aries rising sign the most, because it does talk about the new moon, right? It's gonna be about loving who you are, but at the same time evolving into the person as well you were born to become, right? Yes, maybe there is going to be some lemons thrown at you just to test how confident you are and how confident you are to roll with the punches in
Yeah.
life. So the best advice we can give to anyone is to surround yourself with probably positive people, just to
Mm.
keep your spirits up, right?
Right, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. And we will be back with another video in the near future. If you would like to have a reading with us, then you will be able to find the link in the description box. And
Yeah.
as usual, especially Tsveti, if you have got any questions and comments, then she's going to answer them in the
Yes, I'm
chat
very
box as
active.
well. Yes,
Okay.
unfortunately, I don't have so much time to
I
read.
really
So,
enjoy it. I
and
really enjoy it. So, and if something's really hard, I always go back to Victor. So we are discussing any hard questions. So you can rely on me giving, feedback on anything you would like to ask
oh, and
below.
then one more last thing which I wanted to mention, that that Jupiter is definitely playing a huge role because it
Mm.
still rules the south node. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
releasing element is still there, which does need to happen in order for us to kind of go ahead. Is it the easiest new moon ever? Not really, because
Mm.
Mars in Gemini can still cause some type of confusion, and especially because Mars is actually today, as we speak,
In a
has
square.
formed a square to Neptune as well. So, and sometimes that Mars is a little bit, bummed with Neptune, because I don't really know which way I'm going. I don't really know, how I'm going to initiate those new beginnings, right? I don't exactly know what I am in charge of and all those type of things. And at the same time, Aries is all about bursting energy. So
Mm.
like the energy of the spring, right? So some of you might feel actually a little bit tired or lethargic or lose interest. Yeah, so there is a little bit of a hard to this new moon, but yeah, it can be
Yeah.
overcome.
And as they say, when you take a step back, it's like you need some more space to speed up. So sometimes, having some rest and taking a step back doesn't mean defeat. It only means you're getting ready and you are choosing the right moment. So yeah, we don't need to be discouraged. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, everyone, and see you shortly. Thank you,
Thank
Tsveti, for
you.
joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.